It's typically January that gets all the credit for people picking up new healthy habits and making changes, but for me it's always been much more of a spring thing. The extra hours of daylight and the little bit of extra warmth in the air really affects me in a very positive way, and one of those positive ways is that I've been jogging on Saturday mornings. Every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. I've been waking up and doing a 5-kilometer run. It's not really a run, it's more of a very, very, very slow jog in my case. I like jogging and I always have. I don't think I've ever stuck at it for long enough to kind of get into my stride, so to speak. In the past I have listened to music and that's been fine. I think it's quite motivating, but I always really struggled because my thing when I run is that I run very consistently at the same speed no matter what, and so I find that when I'm listening to a playlist, unless I've been very, very pedantic about making that playlist, then the songs are going to have different tempos, so I get all disorientated when a song is fast and it makes me want to speed up, and then the slow songs are But something I have been wanting to try for quite some time, and particularly since I picked up running again this spring, is running while listening to audiobooks. The few people I've mentioned it to have been like, what? No, I could never do that. That sounds awful. And it's been fine. I've really enjoyed it. My biggest concern was that I wouldn't listen to the story properly, or that I wouldn't absorb it. I have one of those little armbands that you put your phone in and then you put your earphones in the bottom part of it, and where I jog you have to listen with one ear out just in case they have any safety announcements. It gets pretty fierce out there on a Saturday morning. I've talked about audiobooks a tiny bit here in the past. I've never really properly gotten into them. I've had these wonderful rose-tinted visions of me driving when I used to drive to and from my parents' house, listening to them and just kind of inserting them in very practical ways into my life, and it just never worked out, probably because I always have such a big to read pile of physical books. So running gave me this time that I didn't have before, that I suddenly needed to fill with something to do. And I subscribe to a lot of different book email lists where they send you like news about new releases and new authors who've been signed and just various kind of book news in the UK. So last month sometime I got one of those emails and it mentioned BookBeat, and it said that it's a Swedish audiobook app website and that it had just launched in the UK. And so I went to see it. I went on their website. It was beautifully designed, living up to the Scandinavian stereotype, and I got in touch with them and we sort of had a conversation about it. And it's really cool. I wouldn't be telling you about it if it wasn't really cool. No one has asked me to show you the actual app, but I'm going to, partially because I just mentioned how beautiful it is, and also because it's kind of more interesting than me just sitting here talking about it. So you don't need an account to go and look at all the books that they have. I would recommend doing that. So it has like fiction, non-fiction, crime, thrillers, romance, YA, sci-fi, and then lots of non-fiction kind of biography stuff. You can search for books and you can also save books to listen to offline. That's been my biggest saving grace for running, because I didn't want to use all my data by streaming these, because that's what would happen if I hadn't downloaded it. It's kind of like a music app you would have on your phone. You either stream it and use internet or your 3G, or you download like an offline playlist, which is great, except my iPhone has no storage. It's one of the just really small memory ones, and I was really worried that I wouldn't be able to download a book. But at the minute I have Kafka on the Shore on there. I think it's about 19 hours long, and I managed to get it downloaded to my phone by just deleting one app I had or something. So that was really good that I can listen to it offline, because I do worry about burning through my data. But yeah, apart from that, you pay £14.90 a month. It's only in the UK at the minute, and obviously like Sweden and Finland where it started. But you can listen to an unlimited amount of audiobooks per month, if that makes sense. I know some other subscription services you pay for like 1 book a month or 2 books a month or whatever, but this one's completely unlimited. So I would say if you're gonna get it, then you do need to know that you're gonna use it. The only other time I find myself using this is on my commute when I'm traveling to and from work. Generally I'll always have a book in my bag, but there's some times where I don't get a seat, and Maybe I just need to work on being better at kind of using the personal space around me, but if I'm standing on a train and there's 20 people around me and you don't really have much arm room, first of all, it's really hard to hold a book and then turn the page without falling over because you're not holding on to something. And secondly, I just feel like when I have it in front of me and my elbows out that I'm taking up space. I don't know, I maybe need to work on that. I don't even like holding my phone in those situations. So audiobooks have been kind of nice because I can put the earphones in and then just clamp my hands by my sides like a little sardine in a little tin. So that's kind of that. Like I said, I've been listening to Kafka on the Shore. It's a Murakami novel that I hadn't gotten around to. Listening to that while running is really strange because Murakami is, you know, very trippy and kind of magical, and you're just running along in a park and trying to figure out what on earth is going on. It was probably a bad one to choose to kind of introduce myself to the immersive world of audiobooks, because Murakami himself came out and said that in order to understand it you need to read it multiple times. So I'm probably still gonna have to read the physical book even when I finish listening to this, because it's just full of riddles and cats and strange narration. The other one that I've been enjoying is Hidden Figures. I don't think I talked about going to see the film, but I saw it maybe 4 weeks before it came out in the UK. We went to this like screen unseen thing where you pay £5 and then you get shown a surprise movie that hasn't been released yet. So we did that in January, I think it was, and we saw Hidden Figures, and I hadn't heard much about it at the time. I didn't know the story at the time and I was just completely bowled over by it. It was such a beautiful story, it's so lovely. There's loads of others that I have saved. We Should All Be Feminists and a couple of Margaret Atwood stories. If you go on their website you'll see the option to have a 2-week free trial, but if you click the link in the description you can have a 4-week free trial. So let me know if you try it out if you're in the UK and you're into audiobooks and what you think of it. Let me know what I should be listening to and if I'm the only person who likes listening to fiction when they jog first thing on a Saturday morning. Thank you very much for listening to my ramblings on this topic. Thank you to BookBeat for being really lovely in our conversations. I look forward to many more, and yeah. Couldn't do that smoothly. Goodbye.